Oh yeah, all right, here we go. This is homework number 5 for ELO 1, homework 5 for ELO 1. It's solving compound inequalities, so this is a difficult topic. The first part video, so the part 1 video for homework 5 is going to be compound inequalities with no absolute value. And then the second part, if you want to learn about the absolute values, go to the part 2. All right, so this is solving compound inequalities. Okay, so which means we have 2 inequalities, and those 2 inequalities are split up by a statement. So either an or statement or an and statement. We talked about that in class. So go back to the notes if you're confused about that. The notes are on Google Classroom. So this one split up by an or statement. So these 2 compound inequalities are connected by the statement or. So it's either this inequality or this inequality. So we're going to solve the inequalities. If you need help solving inequalities, you're going to have to go back to homework 4 or maybe homework 3. So you're going to have to go back to the solving inequalities. So this one you get x is less than -4 as your answer. Okay, answer for x. Or you have this one where it's x is greater than 5. So I solved those in my head. If you need help solving those, you need to go back and watch that previous video. Okay, now I'm going to make this one red so I can show you what this looks like. X is less than -4. So here's -4. Right here is -4. I'm going to put an open dot, -4, because of the symbol. And I need to be less than that. Okay? Now, I'm going to make this one blue because we either are in this red section for the x value or we're in the blue section for the x value. So x can be greater than 5. So here's 5. I'm going to put an open dot because of the symbol and then greater than. Okay, so typically Alex is going to give you questions that go away from each other like this if it's an or, and if it's an and, it's going to be when they connect. So we'll talk about that on the next one. Okay. So for this question, for example, we have an and splitting up the inequalities. So we have 3x plus 4 is less than or equal to 1, and, which means that both of them have to be true in order for this to work. 3x plus 3 is greater than -15. Okay, so you're going to want to solve them. Like I said, if you're confused about solving, you need to go back and watch that video. So this would be x is less than or equal to -1. Okay, and so both of them have to be true. So x has to be less than or equal to -1, and x needs to be greater than -6. Okay, so if I'm making this one red, x needs to be less than -1. So if I'm looking at my number line, here's -1. I need to be less than or equal to that. So I need to put a closed dot, and I need to be less than that. Okay? Now, I'm going to make this statement blue because I need both the red and the blue to be true at the same time, since it's an and statement. So x needs to be greater than -6. Open dot at -6, greater than. Okay, so this would not be the final answer because when you have an and statement, when you say and in math, it means that both of the statements have to be true at the same time. So red and blue have to be the same, they have to be true at the same time. Red and blue have to be true at the same time. The only spot that happens is between these 2 values, like that. Between -6 and -1, the red and the blue overlap each other. So over here, it doesn't work. Over here, it doesn't work. So those actually go away. Okay. So how do we graph this on the graph? I'm going to get rid of this. So rewind it if you're confused. Rewind that and listen to my explanation. How do we graph it? We're going to put an open dot, -6. We're going to put a closed dot at -1. And then we're going to connect those. And that's it. All right, so it's where they overlap. Awesome. Okay, Feels good to get something right, right? Okay, number 3 here, and all of yours are going to be different, so you're going to have to kind of understand the difference between or and. Now, number 3, I wanted to show you this one because there is no word splitting up the inequalities. So this is still a compound inequality because we have 2 inequalities. All right? So whenever you have one that looks like this is automatically an and statement. Automatic and statement. Okay? So this is automatically and. You're assuming that x is going to be doing both of these things at the same time. All right, so how do we solve? I am going to go through this one. To solve for x, you would add 2. So if you do something on one side, you have to do it on the other. And on the other. So you're going to do it to all 3 sections. Okay? This will get you negative 10 is less than 2x is less than 10. Nope, 12. All right? Then you would divide by 2 everywhere. That'd get you negative 5 is less than x is also less than 6. Okay, so this right here would be our final answer. Now we have to graph it. So right here it says negative 5 is less than x. And since this is an automatic and statement, we're going to say and x is less than 6. Okay, so if x is greater than negative 5, that's going to be red. I'm going to put an open dot at negative 5. Greater than. Then I need x is less than 6. I'm going to make that blue. So here's 6, open dot, less than. Okay? So, since it's an and statement, you have to make sure that both the red and the blue happen at the same time. That's only in between negative 5 and 6. Okay. So how do I graph this then? Well, we know that it's open dots at 6 and negative 5. Okay, and then it's where they connect. So that's how you graph it on your computer. All right. If you are confused about this still, I need you to email me. Just make sure you email me if you're confused. Come in at intervention. Come get help after school. All right. Don't stay confused. That's not the way we want to live life, right? If you're confused about something, ask questions. All right. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Go to part 2 if you want to see the absolute value questions.